Welcome to the Beyond Brilliant broadcast. We are so glad that you decided to tune on in and come back and bring a friend so we can help you and your friend gain the clarity, confidence, and courage that you need to shine all the way in your brilliant zone.
Yes.
So welcome back. And once again, we want to show you, yes, we are here. Yep, we are here. We are we're in our virtual studio, I should say. So we are super excited about our virtual studio. So hopefully you can see that we are still bringing you all those gems that you are used to receiving. Now, we left you in our last episode with the SWOO. And I'm going to tell you what that means. We were talking about girl, get your swag back. I am so excited about this. Yes, girl, get your swag back. I am the author of this wonderful little book that will help you get your self-confidence, your walk with God, your attitude of gratitude, and your God-given gifts and talents back in order. Now, the last episode, we went through self-confidence and we talked about our walk with God. We weren't going to just leave you with half a swag. We came back in this episode to give you the other half. And that is the attitude of gratitude and your God-given gifts and talents. And let me just back up for a minute and just tell you that I am Dr. DeYonne Parker, the Courage Catalyst. And I am joined by my incredible purpose partner, Dr. Nicole Steele, the confidence coach. You can tell I'm so excited. I didn't even get to introduce myself. But we're not going to let that stop our show. We are real here on the Beyond Brilliant broadcast. And so we want to jump on in, but I'm going to pass the mic to my amazing partner over here that is going to start us off before we jump into anything else. So Dr. Nicole.
Yes. I don't want to assume that anybody who is tuning in this week is aware of the genesis of this book. And I know that you shared, and I remember when you bravely, you fought it for a long time. In fact, I think that would be an interesting story to kind of share briefly, how you did this book kicking and screaming, saying, no, not me, God, no, you got the wrong one. But I want you to tell those who are listening, just the brief on the courage it really took for you to put the love that's within these pages, the time, the effort, and the courage it took for you to actually write this book. It truly is life-changing for people.
Thank you so much, sis. I appreciate you for that. And you're right. And I don't want to assume either that you did tune in to the first one and knew the story, but we do want you to go back and to take a look in the archives at several of our episodes. But most importantly, since we're doing a continuation, please go look at the first part of this. But really how this all started, and when my purpose partner is talking about me kicking and screaming, she's absolutely right. This story was in me for a long, long time, and I did not want to write it. I didn't want to revisit it. When I was 18 years old, I was stabbed with a 6-inch butcher knife by my sister's abuser. And it was not just me that was stabbed. It was my sister, as well as one of my very good friends. And we were forced to watch my sister be beaten after being stabbed. And so all of that trauma just took root in my life, literally from 18 years old until adulthood. And I didn't know quite what had happened to me because I just kept saying, I'm fine, I'm okay. And I just kept, just not dealing with the emotions and the pain from that. And so fast forwarding to being an adult and asking God what my purpose was. I will never forget this conversation with God of asking, what is it that you require of me? Because I know there's more to my life than this, walking around with this cloud of something that I knew just wasn't quite right. And boy, oh boy, did he answer me. He told me that the story that was inside of me was going to be written in a form of a book. And he gave me the title, Girl, Get Your Swag Back. And I sat back for a second and said, "Oh Lord, I love books, but I don't write books. I love books, but I'm not ready to write that book." And I really tried not to write that book, and it would not go away. My sister, in fact, my wonder twin, had a conversation with me who really didn't know this story very well, because she was very young, and I told her what was in this book, and she pressed upon me and said, "You need to write the book." But God told me that this book wasn't just for me. It was for you, and you, all of you. So those of you who might have been going through or are going through trauma, have faced trauma in your life, maybe not the trauma that I faced, or maybe the trauma that I faced and my sister faced. This book is for you. Those of you who have gone through drama and are going through drama, this book is for you. So trauma, drama, day to day, it is for you. And so I'm glad you asked that question, because I think it's so important for people to know, right, where this came from. And then we want to always pause right here as well to say, please know that we're not taking any of this lightly, especially if your story is one of trauma or domestic violence. Please use the hotline, the domestic violence hotline, to get the help that you need, the resources that you need, because you do not deserve to stay in an abusive relationship. That is not your story. It doesn't have to be. So I wanted to just say that.
I want to pick up where we left off. So again, like Dr. D said, if you missed last week's episode, you can catch it on the rebroadcast, where we focused on self-confidence and your walk with God, which are two essential, especially that walk with God, essential components to getting your swag bag. But now we're going to jump into the attitude of gratitude. And Dr. D, if I can have the pleasure of starting this one off, because just a moment ago, you talked about drama and trauma. And I don't care who you are. We have all experienced one or both in our life. Right. And so even we talked last time about even the real trauma of COVID-19 and the whole pandemic, global pandemic. Let's just take a pause. Let's take a moment of silence and do some reflection right here. If I got to come through this television screen or computer screen and ask your friends or family on a scale of 1 to 10, rate your girl on her attitude.
Come on. Can we actually do that? Can we do, let's do this. We're going to actually, there's two questions that we want you to answer, because we're getting ready to go to a break, and we want you to take a moment, because we know you got your friend watching, right? The question that Dr. Nicole Steele just asked, on a scale from 1 to 10, have someone else rate your attitude. And then we want to ask, what animal does your attitude resemble when it is not at its best? So take a moment, and we want you to think about that. Tell a friend or 2 or 3 or 4, and we'll come back and we'll talk about it after the break.
What animal?
The time has come to take your brilliance to the next level. Do you have big dreams and desires that have unfortunately been placed on pause? Do you feel exhausted or overwhelmed from trying to figure things out on your own? Do you have potential that is yet to be unlocked and unleashed? We know all too well what it feels like to have to answer yes to these questions. What you need is to be connected to a community of brilliant women like yourself, where you can be supported, encouraged, and challenged to get outside of your comfort zone. Don't let another year pass you by and risk being stuck in the same place, personally or professionally, this time next year. Accept this personal invitation to join our Beyond Brilliant network, where we help women move beyond their brilliance and gain the clarity they need, thrive confidently in their purpose, and live courageously in their power.
All right. right, so we are back. And before that break, Dr. D, you asked our listeners to answer 2 questions. And I want you to repeat those. That second question threw me, girl. It threw me. I'm going to be real.
Yes, girl. I hope you got your animal because I got mine. So the first one was ask your friend or family member to rate your attitude on a scale from 1 to 10. The second question is, what animal does your attitude resemble when it's not at its best? May I tell my truth?
Please do. Please do.
Let me lean in and I'll tell my truth. So when I'm not at my best, and that's hard to believe. My attitude resembles that of the Tasmanian devil. I'm just saying. And my family used to say that as I was growing up. It's gotten a lot better. I tamed the Taz. And if you don't know, the Tasmanian devil is that little cartoon animal that would just spin off and spin himself into the ground. And that is what my attitude resembles when I am not at my best and wrecking everybody around me. And I must apologize for those who have gotten in the way. I apologize right now. But that is what it looks like. And it's not cute. Just saying.
No,
Dr. Nicole, your truth.
Oh, girl, when you asked that question, I wish you had told me that before the show, because I probably would have got a different animal in my mind. But I can think of a couple. If you were to ask my family, now, if I got to pick my own animal, I might pick something cute. But if I was to ask my family and my people, when I'm not at my best, oh my gosh, is there I'm trying to think of what animal is gangster like. What animal would you not want to cross? I'm trying to think. Is it like a panther? Is it a lion? An alligator? A bull? Which one is it? Like, ooh, where they just go, yeah, no. I'm not gonna go with that animal. Cause listen, oh girl. Sometimes I have to apologize, not only to others, but to myself. I'm saying, girl, did you really just show all the way out? Stop it. Yes, stop it.
I understand. I totally understand, girl. We always talk about how we have to put ourselves in timeout. I gotta go. I have a corner to go sit in.
Yep. I do it to myself quite often, and it's okay. I'm better for it. I thank God for the timeout. But before I knew about the timeout, in all honesty, I find myself. I'm not even talk past tense. Even in this season of life, I can find myself through drama and trauma, not self-imposed drama, but life's dramas and life's traumas, finding myself off. And if I'm not careful, I can show up and my attitude can be wrecked. Now, I do try. I too, Dr. D, have gotten much better, but I am still a work in progress, girl. Catch me on a given Wednesday. You just like, I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. So
sometimes.
I think it's okay for us to recognize that, but in recognizing it, we need to put some things in place and be mindful and to understand that it's not just about finding your swag, your attitude. It affects or it infects any environment that you're in. So some of you are looking at your spouse or your kids with the side eye, but you brought the infection into the house with your attitude. That's
really good.
Or some of you are looking at your boss and your coworkers or your church members or your Saras or your book club members or your tea club members or whatever, and you are looking at them, but what you should be doing is maybe looking in the mirror
all of these fingers back here, like, oh,
Yes. Yes.
yes,
I'm
that's
not.
so true.
Yes, this is so important. We have to start first with ourselves. Now, I'm not saying that you're not working with some people that are getting on your reserve nerve. I'm not talking about them, but right now we're talking about you. And so you have to do a constant attitude check and oftentimes an attitude adjustment.
That part.
And if you don't do that, you will never find your swag. You will never get it back because your attitude is also a very important component. So, Dr. D, I know that we work with clients. We work with each other. How about that? We work with each other first, but then we work with clients in making those minor adjustments, because that's what they are, the minor adjustments that make big differences in our lives. And so that question that we ask for you to evaluate yourself, to rate yourself, or to have someone else rate you on a scale of 1 to 10, we encourage you to do it often. Do it often. Ask yourself, how am I showing up? Which is a great lead in, Dr. D, because I know we've got just a little bit more time on our show. But after the break, I want us to roll right into the last letter of swag, which is your God-given gifts and talents. Because I think our attitudes and how we show up in the area of utilizing and using our gifts and talents are closely connected. So don't go away. Go ahead, make sure you got that pen and that pencil. Continue to that pen and paper, I should say, so you can continue to catch these gems that we are dropping here on the Beyond Brilliant broadcast. We'll be right back.
Diamond in the Rough has been for me
a sense of family.
All the mentors are always there for you. You're surrounded by a group of girls who
love you, care for you, try to help you.
You feel that you're welcome to ask any questions.
They implement growth, empowerment, love.
We bring families together.
It's life-changing.
That you have a sister anywhere you go.
We look out for each other. We lift each other up.
Because of the sisterhood and what they teach you there, you know that you have to place it in your life forever.
The vision and the mission of this organization is huge, transforming the world, one child, one family, and one community at a time.
Well, welcome back. We are super excited again that you are here. And if you are just now tuning in, we are talking about all things swag. Girl, get your swag back. We are talking about this book that you can grab on gemmakers.org, DeYonneParker.com, or even Amazon and grab your book. So we are breaking down each one of those letters. And Dr. Nicole just talked to us about our attitude of gratitude. That is the A in swag. Now, let me say this. As we lead into the G, which is our gifts and talents, our attitudes really are made up of how we think and feel. That's just, really, it's how we think and feel and how that pours out of us. And our attitudes show up in those ways when we are depleted in specific areas in our life. So depleted mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So we always say you cannot pour from empty, honey. You can't. No matter how you try, there is bone dry in those areas and you are trying to pour out. Your attitude will not reflect the way you really think that it is or the way that it really is. So you have to be very intentional about filling up those areas. And so hopefully you have rituals in place that will help you do just that. Some of us try to drive our car on E. Just saying. When that gas light comes on and you think, oh, I know exactly how far I can make it to the next gas station. I know I can keep driving. I can keep driving. Well, that's an indicator that something is getting ready to happen. It's a warning light that says, stop and take care of this, or there is going to be great damage. If you've never run out of gas, then you may not know, but there's great damage. So when you are depleted in those areas, your body gives you warning signals, and our attitudes, when they show up that way, is one of those. So, which leads me into the next area. If you're depleted in those areas physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, there's no way that you can be living out your God-given purpose, right? And that's really what the G is all about. It's your gifts and talents. It's those things that God gave you to unwrap and give to the world. It's a gift, right? It's our spiritual gifts. It's our natural gifts, our abilities, our talents, all of those things that make us incredible. Dr. Nicole Steele is so gifted in so many areas. This woman is amazing. When I tell you graphic designs, creativity, oh my gosh, she is that girl, honey. I'm just saying. But if she's depleted and tired and all of these different things, she's not going to show up her best in her gifts. She's just not. And it's the same thing for me. I have great gifts in various areas, but I know when I can't show up in those areas. God intended us to tap into those gifts. He also intended us to take care of them. Some of you have things on the shelves. Some of you have put your gifts and talents on the shelves. And let me just say this. Last year probably caused, and I'm speaking about 2020, caused a lot of us to put our gifts and talents on the shelf and walk away and sit down somewhere, right? Some of us decided because we couldn't get to do the things that we know that we were called to do, that it just took the wind out of us. Well, I'm literally pleading with you right now to take those gifts and talents off the shelf. Your time is not over. Your time is now. It is now. It is now to be able to open up those gifts and also discover new gifts in this season. God gives us gifts, new gifts, skills, talents in the season that He has called us to do something brand new for the kingdom. And I love it when He gives me new gifts that I didn't know I had. I'm like, I can't believe I can do that. I didn't know I could do that. Would you say the same?
I would definitely say the same. I think about if I could imagine what heaven is like as it's sending little babies down to earth to be born. And I don't know if that's how it happens, but regardless, as God is up there knitting you together, because He says He knit us together in our mother's womb.
Yes.
So while He's knitting us together, I can just see Him putting these little special little creative packages and gifts and all kinds of things that we don't have any idea about until the moment when they're supposed to be activated. And so for people who are listening, who might be in the sunrise seasons, maybe you were in your senior golden years and you're thinking, yeah, I had gifts, but boy, oh boy, I missed it because I didn't. Honey, listen, gifts can be activated. I like to say it like this. There's a quote that I have, and it's, if you have a pulse, you got a purpose.
I love it.
If you are watching this and breathing air in your body today, that means God is not finished with you. That means there is still wonderful work. And like you said, Dr. D, gifts are not for us. Gifts are not for the giver. Gifts are for the recipient. And so the gifts and talents that you have are not just for you. It's for the world. And that's why I love the work that we do here at Beyond Brilliant on this broadcast and in our larger Beyond Brilliant network. Because when we talk about going beyond brilliant,
that part.
It's about taking those natural gifts and talents and abilities and all of those things that oftentimes we can take for granted. And it's taking them from here where I can enjoy them, where I take them from granted, and going beyond my own personal brilliance out into the world, giving my gifts. And it's not necessarily on a platform. So those of you that may be tuning in and saying, well, I'm not called to write a book like Dr. D, and I'm not called to speak and to be on a main stage. Going beyond brilliant looks like being a phenomenal mother, a wife, a caregiver of a senior. It may be being the business owner and entrepreneur of that small business that's employing one or two families in your community. It could be a myriad of things. It could be that teacher on the front line who's using that gift of compassion, but also that creativity to make sparks come alive in little bright minds that are growing up and are going to do even more brilliant things. So going beyond brilliant is taking those gifts and unleashing them to the world.
Yes,
letting God use them in a glorious way for the world because they weren't yours to keep in the first place.
That's exactly right. Dr.
Yeah.
Nicole, that was so beautiful and so well put. And I hope that you all absorb that. And one thing I want to leave you all with when it comes to the gifts and talents, just this one piece as well, is stop comparing your gift to your sister's gift.
Come on.
Okay? Or whoever's gift you're comparing. If the gift don't fit, you must acquit. It's not your gift. Stop it. Yes. You can admire someone's gifting. I cannot do some of the things that Dr. Nicole does. I can try, but I'm not her. God gave those gifts to her, and I can admire her, but I can also ask her, can you connect your gift with mine? And we got a whole gift party going on over here, and we can do some incredible things. In fact, you're watching one of them that we've done together, but that's because we know our lanes. Yes. And so I just want you to know that those of you who are out here comparing your gifts, you get stuck and stalled that way because it is the thief. Comparison is the thief of your purpose. Yep. Stop comparing your gifts. Admire them. Cheer someone on from the sideline. If your sister is out there walking in her gifting, high five her and tell her to keep it going. In fact, carry her purse while she is out there walking and running in her gifting. So I just wanted to say that as well.
For those of you that are regular viewers of the Beyond Brilliant broadcast, you know that we close out every single one of our shows with what we like to call our brilliant blessing. What I want to leave you today with is the word of God. It's from the book of Romans, chapter 12. It says, do not conform to the patterns, to the noise, to the distractions of this world, but be yet transformed by the renewing of your mind. So, Dr. D, I know that we always like to close it out with our saying. We want to leave this with you. Remember to be bold,
be brave,
and be brilliant. Yes. We'll see you next week. And remember, you can get your copy of Girl Get Your Swag Back at gymmakers.org or at DeYonneParker.com.
Yes.
See you next time.
Bye.